There we go. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. I'm going to give a moment for people to pop in. We are a little late getting started today. My apologies. It's very, very smoky here. We got a fire going on, and I guess the wind shifted. So just checking in with everybody around our clinic to make sure we were good. So now we are ready to jump on. So let's see if I can make these comments work. Go ahead and say hello to me. Make a comment in the comments if you're here, just so I can know who's with us today. Let's see if that works. It's funny how sometimes something will work and then other times it just wants me to wait until you're here. There we go. Sometimes certain things like, you can do these little ats, that sort of thing, and they'll work, and then other times they won't. So you just never know what's gonna go for the day. All right, we will get started. So first, a little housekeeping, just so you guys know, because Facebook has changed the rules about lives and they are only holding them for 30 days. So they probably have a storage issue. So what we are doing is I'm trying to do it every week, just depends on a bit on my schedule. But every week trying to make sure that I download them and then I put them up onto YouTube. And I have a playlist there that's actually called the Awakening Circle. And so under that playlist will be all of our previous Facebook Lives. So I try to get that done by the weekend. Sometimes I'm a little bit late on that, but if you're looking for something and it's no longer in our thread, that's where you can find it. And so just because of the way that Facebook works now, that's how I've been trying to get around it. So just a little housekeeping there for you guys so that you know that. And then there's other folders there as well. That's where Sovereignty Rising podcast, you can listen to it there. You can starting to do them in video as well. We'll see how I feel with that. And then you can see those there as well. And then there is also the weekly ones that we put together. So all that stuff is available for you on YouTube. So if there's something that you're looking for, you can message me if you're not sure and I'll find it for you and send it over, send you the link. Otherwise, you can also go and take a browse through there and see all the things that are up and available for you. I also did post, and maybe I'll put it in as a separate link for you guys. I did an individual short video on tethering heaven and earth. And so my breathwork practice that I do every morning before I get up. So I meditate, I do my prayer, and then I do this breathwork practice of really anchoring into the earth and tethering into the ether to kind of really ground me in, and then opening my heart to expand my field. And so when I was on holidays, I talked about feeling really grounded and expanded the whole time. And this is the practice that I use to reconnect back into that each day. And then often if you do any kind of energy work with me, then you'll have had that experience once we're starting and I'm opening a circle. I use that practice for part of it. And so I did record that and it is available to you. And that is on our YouTube under Practical Spiritualism. And I think I remember what I named it, but tethering ether and earth is the premise of it. So that's there. All right. So today we are going to talk about the truth in your nervous system and how to hear it. So we kind of talk about these things from all different points of view, and part of it is because there is really only a few major things that we need to do in kind of awakening and expanding and ascending. And the big one is just to become aware of ourselves, become aware of what is our triggers, what is going on in our nervous system and our body. And as we start to learn how to translate these signals, then we can begin to start to soften and let go. And it is presence and letting go that is the major obstacles, the major things for us to get through, so that we can remember who we are and reconnect with ourselves to uncover our truth, to come back home. And so, we come at this from a bunch of different ways, but this is what we're really coming into. And so sovereignty, if we think of the word sovereignty, the word itself means to be self-governing. It means that we are being governed by the self, by the soul, the spirit, and not by our worries and our fears. And so on the podcast that will drop tomorrow, is on the second principle of co-creation, which is the law of magnetic attraction. And everybody loves this law as long as we're trying to create something, to manifest, to create all the good stuff, abundance. We do not love this law when we actually understand it at its fullest. I mean, I personally love this law because it is, to me, the law of healing. And I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying healing and think of it more of letting go. Oh, yay. Hello, Denise. Hello, Bobby. Yay. Okay, good. Comments are working too. So it's the law of letting go, really, because what the law of I go into it in detail in the podcast, but what this law is about is often our soul is bringing us an experience. It's purposely calling something in so that we can become aware of the triggers, the wounds that we have, so that we can let them go. And it's the letting them go that is the obstacle. Those things are the obstacle to us manifesting and creating the life that we desire. And so it really is about this letting go so that we can co-create. And that is where the law of magnetic attraction really comes into play. And if you think about it this way, that thoughts are more electrical, and we're talking about magnetic attraction. So often what we do is we put, affirmations in, we make our vision board, and we don't notice that the thoughts that we're having, we can have this thought like, oh, I want this. But if I'm thinking I have these beliefs underneath that I'm unworthy, then I'm going to be having emotions beneath that are going to be insecurity, unworthiness, lack, fear, contraction, anxiety. And those emotions that I'm feeling under the surface that are more habitual are going to interfere with my ability to actually manifest what I desire. So even if I do all of the things, I'm visualizing, I'm bringing them in, what will happen often is we'll, say manifest $1,000 and then we'll get a bill for $990. And so you're like, why does that happen? And this is why, because we have a dichotomy within ourselves that we have two interfering energies, and we need to become aware of what's happening habitually under the surface, let it go, get rid of it, so then we can bring in what it is that we truly desire, and all that is beneath it, which is often really peace. We want, to experience joy and happiness and be in play and have fun with life. But at the undercurrent of it, what most of us desire is peace, which is the opposite of what we're getting, because we learn through suffering, because we're a stubborn species. And that's just the way it goes. And it's our job to let these pieces go so that we don't need to suffer. So if we can learn how to let these go, put in the hard work, then we can end this merry-go-round that we are on in our lives. And so today, the sovereignty is this letting go of, and how we can become aware of them. And so our body is often letting us know something that we don't realize. And so we think like, oh, I've got we'll say a bummed knee. So my knee's bugging me. And I would immediately ask you, is it on the left or the right? And most people think that's because I want to know what knee we're dealing with. And it's not. It's because I'm trying to understand the story of the knee. And so if you were to say it's my right knee, then I go, great. So we're probably dealing with a thought or a belief that is in your current lifetime after the age of 20. And so, and this becomes important. And your knee is connected to your leg, which is connected with safety and survival, our ability to ground, to root, and our legs are about forward motion. And so am I able to move appropriately on the path that I'm meant to be on, or am I resisting? So imagine that you're trying to step forward and something's you're resisting the pressure that puts on the joint of the knee. And so if something was resisting your push on your shin, we would start to exhaust the knee and the tendons. Same thing starts happening, or we're trying to pivot too much. We're not, I'm changing my mind, and what that would do to the joint. And so it helps you think of the body from a very, very different point of view. So I talk about the body being an oracle. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about that. So that is, yeah, exactly. Yes. Your right knee. This is perfect, Bobby. And so if you were to say to me, it's my left knee, then I'd be like, oh, okay, perfect. So now I know that I'm dealing with either this lifetime, but in your childhood, which will mean that it's something that you've been passed along and it's a child belief, or it's from past life, or a preconception or ancestral or epigenetic. And so there's something that's deeper rooted there that we're going to have to get into so that we can get that forward motion. So the left and right tells us about the timeline. So it gives me a little more information where it's happening in the body, will give me more information as to what is happening in our body, like what's happening with the belief that's interfering. So there are obstacles and imbalances, and they're interfering with the life that we desire to create. And even it might not be the life we desire to create consciously, but it might be our soul. Like this is where our journey is supposed to be going. And so our soul's trying to let us know what's wrong. And so the body becomes the place we want to come back to. The problem is most of us dissociate from our bodies, and we learn to dissociate younger. And we learn to dissociate for a myriad of reasons. Some of us dissociate because of trauma, whether that is physical trauma, sexual trauma, emotional or mental trauma. We dissociate because of that pain. Many of us also dissociate as we get older because of stress, because of heartache, because of heartbreak. And so the pain of feeling those things makes us dissociate as a way to cope with the pain, with the suffering of being human. And the problem with this is the only way back to ourself is through the body. And we want to intellectualize it. So I know all these things here, but I don't really want to go in and feel it. And so often if I was working with you and we were dealing, say, with that right knee, then I would start asking questions. When you go into the right knee, what is it trying to say to you? You know, when you go to bed at night, ask the question, what is it that you need me to know? What is it that you need me to let go of? And so those are the questions we need to be answering. What do you need me to let go of? And usually if we ask that question every night, by the third night, we'll usually have an answer that will be there in the next morning or midday. We'll just suddenly have an awareness of something. If we can stay on top of it, in other words, don't dodge, don't ignore, but we stay on top of it, then we'll be given the next step that we need to make so that we can make an adjustment. So first we have the desire of what we want to create, and then the second piece is to take action. And so we need to take the actual action step of letting it go. And so yesterday I talked on my Mystical Mornings about this body dysmorphia that I've really become aware of. And it's now, I'm like, oh, I can see how it's interfering with what it is that I want to create. Because if I'm stuck there, then I'm going to be hiding. I'm going to have all sorts of issues. So I need to deal with this problem. That, and I'm not my body. So there's things here that this issue is coming up with. There's some beauties. Looking at this problem, this mental belief, this construct that I have, it allows me to go back and see, first off, the ignorance of the behavior of the people in my family that were picking on my mom. It allows me to see my mom from the point of view of this insecurity, this lack of confidence, and how that got projected out. And so it allows me to have a lot of compassion, which is perfect. Compassion is a characteristic of our soul. And so as I'm looking back there and I get to see all that, it's fantastic. But now as I'm moving forward, I get to see how it's been, that confirmation bias of other people. And we see it every day, all day in social media, in the media, in everything. I mean, there's barely anything out there now where it's not talking about our bodies and what our bodies are supposed to be looking like and what we're supposed to eat and how we're supposed to move. So we don't listen to the body itself. But if we came back into ourselves, we could actually get all the answers. So I automatically went back to running. And all of a sudden I wasn't paying attention. My heart was trying to tell me, this is not serving you. This is actually creating some stress for us, and this is not the right thing for you to be doing. Physically, I was feeling fine. My brain in the beginning was having some issues. But then when I actually went into my nervous system, I realized that running actually wasn't serving me. So then when I got into it even deeper, I was like, well, what is the goal? And then when I realized my goal was actually to get stronger, then I was like, okay, well, that isn't doing that. So then I had to go back and go, okay, I'm going to bring in a coach to help me figure out the right exercises for my body to start building strength to support my bones and my whole body, my life, and be able to change this. And then I had to move into eating. How is this going to change with my eating? What is it actually that I need to do when you're training at that level? And so we have to listen to our body, not to the noise that is out there on social media or from your girlfriend or Aunt Betsy. because the simple fact is these are not the right people for us to be listening to when it comes to our bodies, about our experiences. It's the body we need to come back into. You hold all the wisdom. You are your greatest supporter, and you are the person that you've been waiting for. My job often as a coach and as a guide is to co-pilot. And so I don't want your power. I don't want you to listen to me because that makes me right and somehow gives me more importance. I want to teach you how to listen to yourself, because then you'll have all your power back and this world will be a better place. And that's what we need to do. And so this is what our body is doing for us. So just keep that in mind when we're thinking of what's happening. There's more here. And your nervous system, is the key here is the nervous system knows the truth long before your mind does. The mind is often the thing that gets in the way. And so, yeah, super exciting. So we want to be able to get into this body, to get into this knowledge and this wisdom that has always been there. It's just that we doubt ourselves. We're all of a sudden listening to everybody else. Just last week, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I'm on a very specific thing. I don't talk to people about what I'm eating much, because mine's very unique to me, and some people are vegetarians and some people are vegans, and everybody does their own thing, and you do you, and I'm going to do me. And so for me, I know my body prefers to be a carnivore. I've tried being a vegan and it doesn't serve me at all. And when I'm eating, I also notice that if I'm eating really well, that I actually require more red meat. So I eat more red meat probably than most people do, and because of that, I'm really clear about where I'm getting my meat from. So I just want to be really conscious of it for myself. This is what serves my body best. And then my body in the summer likes salads. In the winter, it despises them. It hates cold food in the winter. And so I've learned how to eat with seasons. And so now working with a trainer, I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to do here? And she's like, you need to make sure you're getting enough calories. And so that's the opposite of everybody else. So I'm out camping and everybody's talking about doing calorie deficit. And oh, look, I lost 5 pounds and all the rest. And I'm like, and it's hard. I was like, am I supposed to be doing that? And I actually had to get a hold of my coach and then get a hold of my other coach. And they're like, do not listen. Do not listen. I'm sitting with my hairdresser, super crazy, athlete and amazing hard body. And she's like, God, no, do not do that. You need to have enough calories to weight lift. And so this is the thing. We got to be so careful about listening to the noise. What is your body? And that's my coach is like, what does your body feel good with? Eat that tonight and notice what your workout feels like tomorrow. What does this feel like? And so it's like this learning to how to re-listen to this wisdom. And that is freaking awesome, because we don't need all the rest of that stuff. We just need to get a little quieter. We just need to be more aware and more present here. And so the body or the nervous system will give us some answers before the mind gives us those answers. And so we'll notice oh, I'm getting anxious. As even everybody was talking about, I was like, oh, I'm getting anxious. My body is giving me a warning that this isn't in alignment with us. And so once I start to notice it, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to let them do them. I don't need to tell them what I'm doing. I don't need to tell them whether I agree or don't agree with them. They get to do that. This is important to them. They're talking about it. And I just get to let everybody just do their own thing. I don't have to do anything. I just be there and be present and honor my own body and not worry about the rest of it. And my nervous system gave me a lot more answers than my mind, which my mind's like, oh, should we be doing this? Should we be doing that? My nervous system gave me an answer long before that. So giving ourselves the ability to come back into it allows us to create that intimacy, that self-trust, that self-respect, to come back in here instead of getting worried and fear and all the rest of this garbage that we're being fed on a constant basis. It was just a little pop-up with my Wi-Fi. Hopefully it's just going to keep going there. We'll see. If anything goes sideways, I'll restart it. And so knowing what this looks like is important, because, this is, I wrote here, this is about why truth and safety don't always feel the same, and how we can learn to listen even when it's uncomfortable. So our nervous system will often, say I don't feel safe, even when something's good for us. So I say that too, because if it's about you trying something new and exploring, but your nervous system has been in this pattern of doing something a certain way to keep it safe. Safety doesn't necessarily mean healthy. Safety means not being ridiculed. It means not, having a sense of being loved, of belonging. And so if it's unsure about the new thing that we're going to do, we might originally start with this feeling like, oh my gosh, this doesn't feel safe for me. But that's why I want you to get present with it. And so when we really get into our bodies, and so at the beginning I said there's the anchoring or tethering heaven or ether and earth that I put on YouTube. And it's 7 minutes. And so it's this little breathwork practice that you can do every single morning. But the point of it is if we get into our body. And so if we get into our body, we get all the freaking answers that we need. And so let that be a thing for you as we're coming into this. And so the nervous system is built to keep us alive, not necessarily aligned. And it will choose familiar patterns, even toxic ones, over unknown freedom. And so there is this piece where we need to be present and go, okay, well, what is this about? And so that's the need. We want to talk to it and ask questions. What is it that you're trying to tell me? And so because we've been hijacked for a long time, there might be something that we need to let go of. And so knowing that there is a moment of leaning into discomfort that will be important for us as we move forward, as we learn to let go, as we become aware of a belief. So one that had come up for me not long ago, and here's a great example of the nervous system being hijacked, is whenever I get a compliment, I flinch. I was unaware that I did it. Once it had been pointed out, I was trying to control it. And then once I stopped trying to control it, and I would even flinch when I repeated the compliment if I was telling my husband about my day. Once I went to I work with several coaches, so they all have kind of different areas of my life. So I work with one, Carol Look. We just did a couple of podcasts together, which will be going up soon. I'm super excited. Carol Look is a psychotherapist that created a coaching program and is one of the founding EFT tapping, an EFT master. And so usually when I have a limiting belief or something comes up, I'll text her right away. Here's what's coming up. Next session, I'd like to work on this. So I realized underneath it there was a thought, compliments are dangerous. And I'm like, that's a weird thought, to have compliments are dangerous. And we've kind of worked on this in a few different ways, but I was like, oh. And so what happens is when somebody compliments me, my nervous system goes, and it's I get this little clenching that happens, and I'm like, oh, and I just kind of move away from it because or I'll change the subject, or I'll put it back to the person. And so I didn't understand for a long time that this came from when I was really young, and when I would be complimented, there would be an attack that would come afterwards. And so I just learned, my nervous system learned that being complimented was a potential for danger. And so for now, my job has been not only to let go of that belief, so I work on unwinding it and having compassion for where it came from, compassion for myself for believing it and drinking the Kool-Aid, and I actively work on allowing compliments. And then on top of that was my coach Carol saying to me, remember that compliments are about the other person, they're not about you. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. She goes, it's kind of like a gift. Giving a gift, as much as the person likes it, it's for you, it's really about them. They're giving you the gift. They get to feel the joy of giving the gift. And so if you can think of when somebody compliments you, it's actually about them more than it's about you. And then I was like, oh, that makes it easier. And she's like, yeah, of course, because you'd never want to make somebody feel bad for giving you a gift. And I'm like, okay, got it. And so you get to give that gift give the gift back of accepting and being grateful for somebody seeing you, or somebody noticing you, something that they maybe see in themselves. And so this is a place where our nervous system is maybe giving, but notice the nervous system was giving me a warning. My mind had no idea I had that thought yet. And so sometimes it's letting us know what the problem is, and then we can unwind from there. So it's not a bad thing. Once we become aware of the hijack, we can fix it. And that's freaking awesome. Yeah, it's a funny thing. I cannot tell you how many clients I have that come in my office and they're like, the idea of taking a compliment is a version of hell. And I'm like, great, we're going to start there and we're going to work on taking compliments. and then all of a sudden they want to be a homebody. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. We're gonna actually like get into the world and we're gonna take compliments. And it's a big thing for us. It feels like this is dangerous. And even sitting on my desk beside me right now is the poem Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. And I love this poem. It was brought to me a few years back, maybe 10, 12 years ago actually, when I first got into energy work. And one of the girls that worked for me, I had a lighting showroom at the time, and I was saying I had this experience with this woman, and she was giving me all this information, and I was really thrown off. And she said, "You're very powerful. You are a channel of divine power." And I was like, "Oh, uncomfortable, very uncomfortable with my own power." And then she said, "You're from the darkness, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's something to do with your journey." And so I went back to work. I told the girls about this happening, and I was really like uncomfortable. I was almost in tears. And the one girl said, "I read this poem every single morning, and I think of you." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, I read a poem every morning, and it always makes me think of you." And so if you haven't heard it, it goes like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not in some of us, it is in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. We are liberated from our own fear. Our presence automatically liberates others. I leave it in my office all the time. I have it in my office at home as well, because it reminds me not to shrink. It reminds me that it's okay, that compliments are safe. It's okay to connect with people. These things that have been deeply embedded in my cells, it's okay to let them go. That what kept me safe and protected me when I was a child is not what I need to hold on to heading into, my 5th decade. I can let these pieces go. And so, yes, I love that you have that poem there. It's a good reminder. And I almost cry every single time because it is so deeply ingrained into me to shrink. It is so deeply ingrained into me to not be special, to not take up space. It's so deeply ingrained that it always fascinates me when I have somebody that comes up and is like, "Oh, you're very intimidating." And I'm like, what does that mean? And often when you get down to the bottom of it, it's that I hold my own energy. And it's interesting that it's like it gets thrown at me as if it's a bad thing. And then I have to see it's their insecurity I'm talking to right now. And so as we come into this light, there will be people that will do this for you. And we can hand it back to them "Oh, that's beautiful, but it's not about me." And this, I'm going to let you just hold on to that yourself and process your emotions around that. Is it hard? It is. Is it worth it? It absolutely is, I promise you. And so when we look at that poem is like I said, it's one of my favorites. I make sure I have it close by all the time to remind me that we are supposed to be big and bold and bright. And big and bold and bright doesn't mean loud. It can, for some of us, we're verbal processors. For others, there's a quietness to it. For others, it comes out in all of our different ways. We all have our own unique light. And we are designed and meant to have it show up and shine in this world. So don't let anybody else minimize it, and don't minimize it yourself. Our job is to let that light grow and get bigger and bigger, because it does give other people permission to do the same. And it does. Healing people inspire others to heal. So the way that we get other people in this world to do their work and really, I keep saying I'm trying to get out of this habit of healing and more into the habit of using the language of let go. You were never broken. There was never anything wrong with you. Yes, you did have those experiences. But if we say that I'm broken or I'm damaged or I've got this from that, then we become victims of an experience. When we say, yes, I had that experience and I've held that experience and the emotions, the memories in my body, my tissues, and I'm ready to let that go, it's an empowerment. We are all of a sudden moving from being victim to victorious in a very fast shift, instead of having to go from victim to survivor to victorious. And so we can move that very quickly if we change the language and the base of our beliefs around it. And so that's why I'm trying to get out of this habit of how I speak of this journey. And so where we get stuck, so some of the places, like I just said with this poem, is we'll get stuck in, the conditioning that says, be nice, don't make waves. And they can override the system as a flag. And so note when we have those there that what we're trying to do is control somebody else's experience instead of allowing other people to have their experience and us maintaining our energy, our values, our light, and letting them have maintain their own as well. We don't have to take on other people's emotions. That type of empathy. And people, I'm an empath, I need to do and they will mold themselves to other people. And I always have to remind them that that's a trauma response. That is not healthy empathy. Healthy empathy, we have compassion. When we look at the characteristics of our soul, we care, we're curious, we have compassion, we have courage, that we get clarity, they're all these beautiful connectedness, it's there still, but we're not taking on other people's stuff. It's not my responsibility to make you happy. It's not my responsibility to manage your feelings. It is my responsibility to be light, to be love, to encourage and support you in your journey, but not to manage and maintain your feelings. And it's not done in a cold way. It's done with real great connection and curiosity and compassion as we move through this. And so that's one way that we can shift the language around this and get out of these, the muck that will get us stuck as we do the journey. And then dysregulation. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So it clouds our ability to tell if we're in danger or if we're just in growth, because they'll feel the same. Growth feels dangerous because it's new. It's an unknown territory. And so every time that we come and check in with ourselves and we deepen the breath and we come back into our body, and so if we make rituals and practices in the morning that we do on a regular basis, it will support us for the day. So it's easier if we have the ritual in the morning to continuously maintain this practice going forward. And then the question I wrote down for you guys is, when's the last time you ignored the body's truth because it didn't feel safe to follow it? And so just thinking about that moment of when's the last time you ignored it? And I asked the question, and I've got several where I've gone into this. It's been a bit, but I catch them fast. And I think that's why I think, it's been a bit, is because nowadays what I'll do is I'm I just catch that pretty fast, within the day or within a couple of minutes even. And so the more we do the work, the faster we get at shifting. I was just about to get caught into that, or we're caught into it for a few hours as opposed to months, years. So we can get quicker the more that we purposely create the awareness. And awareness is the absolute key to everything that we're going through. How do we change our beliefs? How do we change our habits? How do we change the way we think? How do we change the way we feel? By being aware. Awareness is always the first key. Once we're aware, then then the second part of that is to let me. So taking responsibility and accountability for what we're going through. And so understanding on this, I wrote the reframe. So truth doesn't always feel good at first. And so it's about leaning into the discomfort of what we're going through. So truth sometimes feels raw, shaky, and, sweaty palmed. And it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's new and it's something that we're leaning into. And this is the importance of having our values, is when we have our values and we're in alignment with our values, that lets us know, okay, we're good to move forward. And so checking in with your values. And if you need the values worksheet so you can work through your values, then go ahead and message me in the comments, or you can send me a private message and I'm happy to send you the link for that. And then you can download the values worksheet so you can figure that out for yourself. And know with your values, don't get freaked out about them if you're not sure, like, is this mine or not? They shift. So my values, 3 core values, used to be freedom, courage, and loyalty. And freedom has adjusted and I would say matured into sovereignty. Courage remains. I also have added in curiosity. If I'm curious, I'm not judging, I'm not having expectations, and so it really keeps me in alignment. Respect was one I didn't know I had and brought in. Loyalty has recently shifted. I've questioned loyalty for a long time. I am a loyalist, but I'm like, sometimes it pulls me out of alignment. What is it with this? This last couple weeks, I've had a whole bunch of shit come up in my life and work, and I'm always see them as opportunities, and it gave me the opportunity to realize that it's not loyalty, it's integrity. And so being in integrity with my own word, being in integrity with my actions, being in integrity with all of it. And when something's not in integrity, that's a major problem. And so it's not some like integrity and respect keep me in with loyalty, but it's not loyalty. So note that your values will mature and adjust as you go through your own journey of letting go of the past, of letting go of old beliefs. And so they will adjust as we move forward. And know that safety can be cultivated after the choice. So regulation tools that can really bridge that gap. So using things like the breath work, dropping into our pelvis and really breathing and grounding in. So there's also some other we can do there's this petting. So if you ever really not feeling good, you will, or children especially, they like when their back's rubbed or their arms are rubbed. So even doing that for ourselves is a way that we can help regulate the nervous system, as well as deepening the breath, inhaling for about 4 counts, pause, and then exhale for twice as long. So in for 4, out for 8. And if we want to take that even deeper, we can sigh the breath out like we're fogging up a mirror. So and 5 to 10 rounds of that breathing will help to shift us over to parasympathetic from the sympathetic, the fight and flight response. So a manual override. And so the mini practice that I gave for us is a 3 breath truth check-in. And so first we want to take the first breath, and as we do those breaths in through the nose for 4, out through the mouth for 8, we can just notice the state of our body. In my tension in my neck, tension in my shoulders, tension in my face. Then on the second breath, we can whisper the truth or decision to ourselves. So if there's something that we're shifting, something that we want to do, then we can just whisper it and just be in that place. And on the third breath, notice if your body loosens or tightens. And so if there's a greater retraction, then you're probably not in alignment. And so does it expand or does it contract? Does it get a little softer and looser? That would be a relief. And that'd be a relief if only I could do that. You can do it. You can do hard things. So notice what's there and trust your truth. And then we can work, you can always private message me. So it's I really want to do this thing and it feels like everybody's going to be against it. Then find the right person to have in your corner to support you as you're doing something hard that maybe you'll get some pushback from originally. And that's okay. Not everybody has to agree with your decisions. You need to agree with your decisions. And so just remembering that, sovereignty, if you want to live unmasked, we have to really notice what the body is saying to us so that we can start letting go and learning all those things that we learned in our childhood. I hope this brings value to you guys for today. I hope that it's brought some things up for you and made you think, made you consider, and helped bring some awareness to maybe some habits and patterns that we have. I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I love to chat. I love to hear your comments and notice what comes up for you guys. Cultivating this community is really important to me. I love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. New podcast drop tomorrow, Principles of Co-Creation. We're on Principle 2. So this is our 3rd of the 8-part series. We did Fate versus Destiny. Then we did Choice Drives, Thought Matters, Choice Drives. And now the third one is the second principle, which is about magnetic attraction and what's really going on underneath and how do we shift. All right. You're so welcome. Yes, that is lots. All right. You guys have the most incredible day. Yeah, we all get stuck there. You're not alone at all. At all. You guys, like, trust me, this has been a heck of a journey. I'm walking it with you. It is a heck of a journey. I just keep asking for more. So, yeah, you're never alone. All right. Have an amazing day, you guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.